While we're more than ready to see what 2018 has in store, you can't deny 2017 was full of fun surprises, namely the roster of video game hits that we didn't expect. I'm Adrian with the Leaderboard, and we're checking out the top 10 surprise hits of 2017. Make sure to subscribe and click that bell icon to become part of the notification squad. Friday the 13th. After years of anticipation, a survival horror game based on Friday the 13th was released in May 2017, becoming the 124th most successful crowdfunded project of all time. It raised over $1 million on Kickstarter and BackerKit. However, fans were wary as the game fell victim to ongoing technical issues and even to rumors that the project was abandoned completely. Fortunately, despite its bumpy start, the game has actually been pretty successful thus far. The head publisher of Gun Media, Wes Keltner, recently told Games Industry that Friday the 13th sold more than 1.8 million copies in just the first 3 months. In fact, the game just keeps getting better and better. This past Friday the 13th brought about a rather substantial update for the game, including an all-new playable Jason based on his final chapter rendition, fully equipped with the movie-appropriate theme music and kill moves. Plus, they added the largest map yet, the Jarvis House, along with the new counselor, Mitch Floyd. Mitch Floyd is based on the character Chuck from Part 3, which can be unlocked when the player reaches level 24 of the game. There's also the addition of new environmental features such as the newly implemented rain effects and a handy push ability for the counselors, so that they can push other players right out of their life. Sounds like fun, right? Well, get to it if you haven't already. Friday the 13th is available for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. Cuphead. On October 13th, indie game developer Studio MDHR announced that its colorful boss-focused action game had gone platinum. Cuphead sold 1 million copies since its initial release on September 29th. For any of you who are unfamiliar with this title, Cuphead is a run-and-gun video game in which players assume the role of the titular Cuphead, and Mugman 2 if you've played local co-op mode. The game is pretty straightforward. Players explore creative worlds and collect items in an attempt to pay back a debt to the devil. This sleeper hit gets a lot of praise for the aesthetics, as it was heavily inspired by cartoons of the 1930s, and we mean heavily. In fact, the visuals and audio are created using the same techniques of the era. So, traditional hand-drawn cell animation, watercolor backgrounds, and original jazz recordings. The whole shebang. In IGN's review of Cuphead, the game scored an 8.8, saying though Cuphead won't be to everyone's tastes, there is still absolutely no doubting its quality, and we totally agree. Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard was released worldwide on January 2017 for Microsoft Windows, Xbox One, and PlayStation 4, specifically as one of the first fully playable games for the PSVR headset. That being said, there was a lot of skepticism surrounding the title because fans were unsure if the momentum of the demo would be sustained throughout the entirety of the game. Luckily, longtime fans were able to breathe a sigh of relief. Resident Evil 7 was the franchise's best entry in years, a legitimately disturbing, visually stunning survival horror game which revisited the roots of the series. That's not even taking into account the game in VR, which is an utterly bone-chilling experience unlike anything else in the series, or possibly even the entire genre. It goes without saying that Resident Evil 7 is the first undeniable classic since Resident Evil 4. To back up this statement, Capcom revealed the figure as part of its latest financial results, which showed the title has officially sold 4.1 million copies as of September 30th, 2017. A gold edition to the game was released on December 12th, 2017. This special edition came packaged with all of the add-on content, such as the banned footage DLC and the new End of Zoe campaign. Capcom also released the long-awaited Not a Hero DLC for download the same day, which has players assume the role of BSAA soldier Chris Redfield. Night in the Woods. After a successful Kickstarter campaign, Night in the Woods was finally developed and released by Infinite Fall. This single-player adventure game focuses on exploration, story, and character, and was released for Microsoft Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and PlayStation 4 in February 2017. Since then, the game has been praised for having one of the most moving game narratives of the year. It follows the story of Mae Borowski, a 20-something-year-old cat who decides to drop out of college and return home to Possum Springs, a small Rust Belt town whose best days are far behind it. Mae gets acquainted with Possum Springs as she chats it up with old friends like Bea, a genius stuck working her dad's store, or Greg, the fellow anarchist. There are dozens of new characters to meet and lots to do across this vibrant world, but the most engaging aspect of the game is the connecting narrative that's way more profound than expected. It deals with existential crisis, the nature of God, and what it means to be human, even though she's a cat. The tone oscillates between whimsical and desperate, angry and nostalgic. Overall, it depicts the conflicting desire of a person who feels the gravitational pull of her family and town, yet desperately wants to escape. When it was first announced, Night in the Woods had set a funding goal of $50,000, which was reached in only 26 hours. The project eventually earned over $200,000 total in crowdfunding. Since then, the game has received positive reviews from critics, mostly praising its writing and character development. During October 2017, it was announced that the game would be ported to mobile devices with a release date of 2018. Injustice 2. Injustice 2 has everything you'd expect from a sequel: more aggressive combat, sharper visuals, and grittier art style. One of the most impressive mechanical aspects is the combo options. You can even bounce opponents off walls and launch them high into the air for juggle combos. Overall, the game is bigger, glossier, and far more ambitious. While the bar was set pretty low, this fully loaded follow-up has surprisingly set the new standard for fighting game sequels. It promises to blow previous expectations completely out of the water. You have to admit, as fun as the first Injustice was, the graphics were mediocre, the load times were excruciatingly long, and you couldn't shake the general feeling that the developers were holding back. As a result, fans were extremely divided on the Injustice 2 pre-release. Above all else, there was widespread criticisms over the graphics looking too similar to the original, which was a valid reason for fans to be skeptical. But thankfully, the final product completely rectified itself across the board. By the end of May, Injustice 2 was the 9th best-selling game of 2017, selling approximately 1.5 million copies in the first 3 months alone. Persona 5. The JRPG Persona series fits into a long tradition of teen fiction in which young people band together to expose the schemes of corrupt adults, kind of like Scooby-Doo. Although when it comes to the teenagers of Persona 5, the stakes are much higher, forcing them to conceal their identities behind masks and mysterious alter egos. They're basically vigilantes, and they dub themselves the Phantom Thieves of Hearts. This latest addition to the long-running high school franchise is praised mostly for its writing, with claims that the characters are so well written that it feels as though it was a multi-season TV series. The game delivers an authentic simulation of urban teenage life. Each day is divided into segments, and you play through week by week until the end of the school year. The choices you make during this time benefits the characters in different ways. For instance, an evening spent out with others might increase your character's charm, while an afternoon spent studying will increase your knowledge. Sure, it sounds like high school all over again, but this isn't your ordinary coming-of-age story. Persona 5 brings a thrilling new twist to the RPG genre by incorporating classic dungeon exploration and social simulation scenarios. Persona 5 found both critical and commercial success when it released on April 4 for North American audiences. In fact, game developer Atlas addressed the success in a post for the official PlayStation blog, personally thanking fans for buying the game. I know this isn't in the script, but not only were the characters really good, the whole world was really good, the aesthetics of the game were great. I just love the Persona series, I'm sorry guys. Batman: The Enemy Within, Episode 1. After last year's Batman: The Telltale series, most fans had pretty low expectations for the sequel, The Enemy Within, but lo and behold, the game was a smashing success. In this latest chapter, the Riddler has returned to terrorize Gotham City. Amanda Waller arrives with her mysterious government task force to hunt him down, and they enlist the help of the Caped Crusader himself. The game has made substantial improvements over its predecessor. First off, all big choices are now about Batman's relationship with his allies, as players navigate Bruce Wayne through uneasy alliances and an unforgiving series of deception. Then at the end of the episode, the game gives players a rundown of all the emotions they invoked from other major characters to see the impact of their decision-making firsthand. In addition, there's no longer any planned fight sequences. Instead, the players makes choices on the fly during a timed sequence. Considering how quickly this was assembled, it's truly impressive that it ended up being one of their best episodic adventures. This first episode not only runs well across platforms, but is actually one of the more entertaining Telltale Batman episodes to date. The plot twists and performances alone promise to keep fans on the edge of their seats for Episode 2. Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn is an action role-playing game developed by award-winning studio Guerrilla Games as the studio's first attempt at an RPG. The plot revolves around Aloy, a skilled hunter, as she explores a lush world inhabited by mysterious mechanized creatures, using ranged weapons and stealth tactics to combat them and loot the remains for resources. Players embark on a journey across a vast open world, exploring different tribes, discovering ancient artifacts, and ultimately unraveling the mysteries surrounding the planet and even life itself. Horizon Zero Dawn was the best-selling launch of an original IP on the PlayStation 4 console, selling over 3 million copies by June 2017, making it the second best-selling PlayStation 4 video game. It received praise for the open world, story, visuals, combat, and the character of Aloy. For any pre-existing fans out there, the first expansion, entitled The Frozen Wilds, was released in November 2017, which adds a new snow-covered mountain range called The Cut to the game's map. However, if you're an average player beneath level 30, beware. The Frozen Wilds embraces Horizon's reputation for difficulty. Prey. Developed by Arcane Studios and published by Fallout's Bethesda Softworks, Prey is a rather impressive first-person game built around an alternate alternate history of the space race. Similar to BioShock, both old and new tech exist side by side, so you'll notice certain advances like artificial gravity alongside something classic like rotary telephones. The game takes place in the year 2032, where your character wakes up aboard the Talos 1, a space station orbiting the moon. You are the key subject of an experiment meant to alter humanity, but clearly something went wrong, and now the space station is overrun by hostile, bloodthirsty aliens. Prey implements classic RPG mechanics you don't see often enough in modern video games, making it feel both new and nostalgic, which plays right into the theme of the game. The wonderfully explorable science fiction environments prove dense with interactive systems, intrigue, and ever-present danger. Between the explorable science fiction environments and the thoughtful storytelling, developer Arcane has done a fantastic job of making this bizarre place feel oddly at home. In its first week, Prey sold a whopping 71,000 units in the US. The game debuted at number 5 on the weekly sales charts in Japan, and became number 1 during its second week in the United Kingdom, making it the first Bethesda game since 2016's Doom to reach number 1 in the UK. Nier Automata. There are very few games like Nier Automata, and not just in regards to the outlandish story, but to the gameplay as well. It's an unusual hybrid, a hack-and-slash RPG shoot-'em-up brawler, and text adventure all in one. The controls switch between a side-scrolling shooter, twin-stick shooter, a third-person action RPG, and a 2.5D platformer, but no matter which style you're playing, it's still 30+ hours of fantastically fun gameplay. The striking art style and vast sense of scale are dazzling on the PlayStation 4, and even more so on the PS4 Pro. The game features multiple endings, some of which lead to new chapters in the narrative, so it's not just more gameplay, it's different gameplay, which keeps the game fresh even after several playthroughs. And if you're a fan of the previous Nier game, let me just say that the music in this game is just as good. Anyway, game creator Yoko Taro was already considered a veteran in the industry, but the recent success of Nier Automata has put him and Platinum Games directly in the spotlight. As of September 2017, Nier Automata has sold over 2 million copies since its launch back in February, making this Yoko Taro's best game yet. Oh, and the music, oh my god, I can't stop talking about the music. The music and gameplay are the best things about this game. Editor put this in because I love Nier Automata, and I want everyone to know they should definitely buy it, despite how weird everything is, because it is Yoko Taro. There you have it. I'm Adrian, and thanks for watching our top 10 surprise hits of 2017. Which game was your favorite release this year? Did we miss any surprise hits? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to click the bell icon to become part of the notification squad. And if you like getting more from your games, subscribe to the Leaderboard, your home for video game facts.